What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Hope all is well. I hope it's not a delay. My internet been tripping today for some reason. But let's have a conversation. I want to talk about something that was on my heart and on my mind. Does she really want to be led? Does she really want a husband to lead? Now, fellas, you got to be leery. You got to be careful. Okay. And I've been telling y'all about learning how to vet, learning how to identify a wife. I want to talk to y'all about how sometimes a woman will think that she wants a man to lead her, but in actuality, she wants a man to lead her as long as she can control the way he leads. And this breaks down to an illusion of desiring leadership. And when you're vetting for a wife, you have to ask yourself, does this woman really want to be led by her husband? That's what you have to be able to ask yourself, and you have to be able to identify whether or not this young lady that you're interested in, that you're dating, or that you want to, have a future with. You have to be able to identify whether or not this is something that she actually wants. Because I think in theory, I think in theory, the idea of a woman having a husband that leads her sounds good and it seems good. In her innate nature, she definitely probably wants it deep down. But for a lot of women, they don't know how to actually let a husband lead. And you got to be careful not to misconstrue or be confused about whether or not a young lady truly desires to be led. And so there is a difference between a woman who wants to be led and a woman who wants to control the way she is led. Now, for most traditional men, they aspire to be the leaders of their home. They aspire to be the heads of their home. They aspire to lead by example. They aspire to show um, their wife and their children that they love them, they care for them, they protect them, etc., etc. Now, a traditional husband or a traditional man who desires a wife, who desires a family, he's not going to be one who tries to control his wife or control his woman. He definitely wants his wife's input. He definitely wants his wife's insight. He definitely wants her wisdom, her knowledge, right? He definitely wants to be able to talk to her and bounce ideas off of her. But that traditional man, you do not want to be micromanaged. You don't want to be undermined. And so you have to identify the red flags as a husband and as a man, even before you become a husband, right? You have to identify red flags of a woman who is control fronting as a cooperative woman. She might agree to leadership verbally, but then she resists it emotionally, or she fights against it in her actions. She may say, yeah, you decide, you make the decision. I want you to lead. But then she might start criticizing your decisions. She might constantly want to double check behind you, revisit the decisions you already made. Or she might begin to resent the decisions you make, or resent you when the advice she gives or the input she gives is not something you take into your final decision. this time. And so I think for men, it's important that you don't confuse opinions, right? With with well, let me say it a better way. I think it's important that you don't confuse a woman's um desire to give input or her opinion, right? Well, no, that's not the best way to say it either. I, I'll say it this way: when a woman wants to give you input and give you her opinion and give you her thoughts, that's a good thing because no man can figure it out by himself. No husband can figure it out by himself, and no husband should try to figure it out by himself. The whole point of you having a wife is to bounce ideas off of, to get her input, to get her wisdom, to get her insight. So you need to be able to do that. But what you got to realize as a man is that if you choose a woman who is going to undermine your decisions after y'all have a conversation about it, if she's going to come backtrack and criticize the decision you made, if she's going to have an attitude about the final decision you made, then that's showing you that her desire is not really to be led by a husband. It means that she wants to micromanage and control her husband. It's a way of trying to lead from the back seat or drive. You ever heard of the backseat drivers? It's kind of like that. So the thing is this: is that there's damage in being micromanaged when it comes to men. Men feel disrespected when they are expected to lead and then they are micromanaged the whole time they're trying to lead. Men don't want to be second guessed and undermined and disrespected when they're trying to lead after they were asked to lead by their wives, their girlfriends, right? And so as men, you have to be careful that you choose properly, that you choose a woman who's willing to be led. Again, let me reiterate this. This does not mean control her. It does not mean to it does not mean um to shut her down or silence her. It just simply means that for men who want to be married and for men who want to be the traditional husband, you must learn to vet the woman who's willing and have the humility to be led. Because if a woman says she wants a man that's going to lead, leadership comes at a cost and following comes at a cost. And men who get micromanaged in their leadership feel disrespected and undermined, and they end up emotionally shutting down. They begin to grow hesitant. They begin to second guess themselves at times if they're not confident as men. And women have to realize that they play a major role in this. If you want a husband that's going to lead you, then you have to be willing to be led. You have to be willing to be led. You have to be willing to that. And sometimes, right, there's a lot of conflict and a lot of unnecessary arguments because the man is not able to lead. Now, there are different reasons why women do this, right? It may be fear. It may be because she's been let down by past men. It may be because her father never showed up for her properly. It could be a lot of different reasons. So it's not about bashing women who struggle to let a husband lead, but it's about recognizing how dangerous and how and the negative impacts that it can have on a woman who says, I want a husband that's going to lead me. And then when he tries to lead, you try to control the situation. You try to control the decisions. You try to micromanage every single thing. Even after he gets your input, even after he takes in your thoughts and your opinions about the situation. Yes, you might have a fear of being let down. Yes. But that doesn't mean you should still try to control. And so the thing is, is that for men, you should receive your wife's input. You should honor her voice. You should honor her decision making. You should hear her out. But here's the thing. For women, give your input. Don't give ultimatums. Don't give that passive aggressive type of response as if you don't really trust him, because he's going to see that. He's going to feel that. He's going to read through that. Because ladies, you cannot say you want a man to lead and then tie his hands. You can Submission does not mean supervision. Let me say it this way. I think oftentimes when this subject is talked about, it gets convoluted with all these other small mini conversations that creep up in the middle of this conversation. Right? In order for a man to lead in his marriage, he has to know that he's trusted, which means as a wife, you have to be able to assure him that you trust him. And when y'all sit down to have a conversation about anything, finances, the children, the business, the in-laws, whatever it may be, or just household things or family, whatever it may be, if he's getting your input, if he's getting your opinions, if he's taking you into consideration, the thing that happens after that is you let him take some time to process and decide what he's going to do. And whatever he decides, part of the dynamic of leadership is being able to have the freedom to make a decision with all the input given from his wife and say, you know what? I like this part, but I'm not going to listen to that part. That was good advice. I'm going to take that, but I'm going to leave this part. And here's the final decision. Boom. And when he gives that final decision, as a wife, you have to support him, because that's what leadership needs. That's what leadership needs. That's what leadership needs. So I'll end it by saying this. Ladies, do you want a husband that's going to lead or not? And men, you have to choose a woman who is going to trust your leadership. And then you marry a woman who trusts your leadership. Otherwise, you're just going to be frustrated, let down, disappointed, angry, and you can't coexist like that. So I hope this helps somebody. I just wanted to share that. I wanted to talk about that. I hope this helps. I hope it helps your marriage. I hope it helps your relationship. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page, Forever Love Relationship Network. Number 4, Ever Love Relationship Network on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Try Forever Love, TRY, the number 4, Ever Love. All right. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back for more videos another day. Love y'all. Hope this helps. Appreciate you. Watch how we flipping it. Watch how we living it. Watch how we winning it. Watch. Yeah. Watch. Yeah. Watch. Yeah. Watch.